Hey everyone, it's Nightlight9, and in this video we're going to do an account review. It's been a little bit over 2 months, I guess, 2.5 maybe, since the game came out, and I've had several players commenting in my videos and asking me to do something like this, and I figured since we're in the middle of a little bit of a lull, this event is kind of a slow burn, might be a good time to do that. I will also cover my thoughts on the Holiday Cheermeister Cloud Sword, the event weapon. For anybody who doesn't get that reference, you need to see the Grinch, the one with Jim Carrey. Anyway, I guess to start out, I will begin with just showing kind of where my characters are level-wise. I have 3 characters at level 60, Cloud, Barrett, Tifa. Aerith is pretty close behind. She's 59. I think she's like 2/3 or 3/4 of the way to 60. The reason I have Barrett at level 60, even though you'll almost never see me use him, is because when I was getting people to level 60, I threw Barrett in there because he had a bonus and because I knew I would use Aerith more going forward. So I figured that was a good time to actually just catch Barrett up rather than leave him behind and he would probably never get there. Other than that, I just never end up using Red 13 or Glenn. I don't really use a lot of these people down here except for Sephiroth, but I did spend a lot of stamina tonics getting them leveled up. You know, speaking of stamina tonics too, this event doesn't take stamina at the moment, so it's a good time to catch up on character levels or farming the solo content for, materials or whatever it is that you need. And the next thing I will show is my materia, and I can tell you my materia is not fancy. As far as elemental materia, I have a 4-star Watera or Watera, however you want to pronounce that. It's got a good heal stat. Other than that, this materia sucks. Thundara Blow, same thing. I mean, these are terrible stats. I only kept this because it's my only 4-star Thunder materia. We go here to the bottom. I have an Aurora Blow, which these stats also just, man, I have not gotten very lucky with my stats on elemental materia. These are just bad. I can tell you I've done over 1,600 synthesis, I don't know what the plural of that word is, but I've synthesized like 1,655 materia. The best stats I have are all on ruins. This is the only 5-star materia I have, and it is the highest percentage on any stat that I have, 7.3% to magic attack. I'm happy with that. It's not super useful for anything else, but that's fine with me. The rest of these are just, they're all stat sticks, and that's why I don't care if they're blows or just regular, ruin res. They're just used for stat sticks. And so I'll just kind of show you a few. This one's got 5% physical attack, 6.8% magical attack. That one's not good. 4.9% heal, not that great. Again, not very good. This one is okay because it's got a good heal stat on it. 5.1% magic attack. I basically 6.7% physical attack. That's pretty good. And 6.9%. So these are what my materials look like. And for those of you wondering how you should do materia, it's kind of up to you. I mean, obviously I craft a ton of elemental materials. Specifically for the last month, I've been doing a lot of earth, and I cannot get a single decent earth, either magical or blow version. I can't get one to save my life. They are all like, as soon as I get a 3-star even, either the stats are terrible or the moment I start leveling it up, none of the percentages move. So anyway, in the meantime, because you can force 3-star ruin rim materials, especially the magical version, it takes even less than the physical version. That's why I have so many of these. And because you can do more of them easier, you have a better chance of getting those percentages, right? That's kind of how I see it. So that's what I've been focusing on. And those are all of the favorited materials I have. Most of the rest of them that are in here are just junk that I'm waiting to use to enhance. The other thing I guess I'll show real briefly, I know a lot of people don't really pay a lot of attention to this, but as far as the Tower of Cetra Battle Tower, on this account, I am stuck on floor 65. I haven't tried it now, I want to say in probably like 2.5, 3 weeks since I put out my floor 60 video. I think I was trying this for like a week after that. I can survive the final boss. I cannot kill him, or I could not, at least. I haven't tried it in a while, but I couldn't kill him before the time expired. And that's really frustrating because anybody who's ever been through a battle where the time runs up on you, you know how long that takes. and it is extremely frustrating. It's enough to make you not want to try it again for a while, which is why I haven't. Next thing to cover is weapons, and this is what I'm working with here. So a few things. The top 16 weapons, those are all event weapons, and I've OB10'd every event weapon that I'm aware of. The only one that hasn't been yet is the Holiday Cheer Cloud Sword. I don't know what people think about this, but I like it. This ability, I think it kind of sucks, especially because if you look at it even at OB10, like 290%. I know it's all enemies. I don't really care about that. The amount of times that comes into play is so infrequent where you really want to damage all enemies that I don't care about that. However, I like physical defense. Physical defense is definitely useful. In fact, Lefko, Kipseli, and Torn Wing are the only other event weapons that we've gotten that increase physical defense, and I constantly use those. Because I have plenty of magic defense. A lot of the early free weapons we were getting did magic defense. And so I'm constantly having to split those between, typically two characters in order to try to even out defense and make people able to survive. Giving us a third way to do this is really helpful. I also think boost magic attack is also very helpful, especially, I figure this is probably going to be used as a sub weapon. For those reasons, I don't really care about any of this. I'm never probably using this as a main weapon on Cloud, almost ever. Like, literally never. I can almost guarantee that. But if we compare it to, things like Torn Wing, that boosts regular, attack, right? So it's the watered down as far as the percentages aren't going to be as much, but it applies to both physical and magical. And if we look at Lefko Kipseli, it does the exact same thing, right? These are basically copies of each other. The fact that this one is more focused on, the magic attack, I like that. I think it's a fine weapon. I'm really happy. It's to me one of the better event weapons that we've gotten in a while, aside from Iron Greatsword, which I also think is good just because it gives the critical potency, which honestly does make it a pretty good sub weapon. One thing I do want to cover is weapons that I have taken to level 90 that I wish I didn't. And actually, I guess before I do that, I will show the rest of my weapons. So one thing I want to point out for anybody interested is Edged Wings is the only non-event weapon that I have to OB6. I will also point out is the only time I spent money in the game for a specific weapon. So what I've bought in this game, for like the first 4 weeks, I bought both weekly passes. I've also bought 2 out of the 3 monthly passes. And then I bought enough to get 2 copies of Edged Wings. And I'll be honest, I kind of regret it. But as far as anybody who's seen my last couple of pull videos and thinks that my luck is absolutely amazing, I can tell you the fact that if I didn't purchase 2 of these, I still would not have a single weapon to OB6. I mean, I think that tells you about how my luck was on pulling. The second thing I want to point out is if I go to Overboost, you can see that I don't have many Sephiroth specific weapon parts. I used 100 weapon parts from here to actually hit OB6. So even without those, I still wouldn't even have one OB6 weapon. Crystal Gloves I had on the wish list for a long time in the beginning of the game. I've since taken it off, but I still get copies of it all the time. I pulled hard for Amaranth's Claws and got that to OB4. Mirasame has been a work in progress ever since the very beginning, and we're trying to get that OB6. Holy Flame Gloves, you probably watched it recently. I got really lucky. That's what I'm going to say about that. I pulled 8 times and got 4 copies. That's just amazing. As for the rest of these, I'm just kind of, obviously this has been, gotten 2 copies of this from the exchange shop, so I'm working on that. Working on Prototype Crimson Blade, kind of low key. The rest of these, just stuff that I use. I really like Motor Drive. I'm trying to work on that. My biggest regret, I think, where is it here? It's going to be in the 5-star. This is my biggest regret of the game right now, Dark Heavens, and this is the reason that I have advised people, if you're free to play or light spender and you use Lucia in your main party, most of you are going to have her built towards physical attack. Trying to switch it up and build her magical attack just because you like what she's been offered in this banner, personal opinion, it's not worth it. One of my biggest regrets was pulling for Dark Heavens. One, obviously, I pulled a ton of crystals on this. I finished an entire stamp page and it took me like around 30,000 crystals to finish that one stamp page. I only got one copy of it. And I can tell you, I never use it. I never use it because I still can't really set Sephiroth up to do physical attack very well. Not that it can't be done. To switch gears and start going the opposite direction took too many resources. So that's why I'm advising people with Lucia, don't just pull because you like it. That's just like I said, unless you have the resources to dump in, which in that case, you're probably a dolphin or better. Coming back up here, I will start to go over weapons that I put to 90 or took to 90 that I kind of have a little bit of buyer's remorse on. So I'm the kind of person that uses stuff, okay? And you can see right here, I have 42 of these. So I like to keep enough, if I can, to raise, one weapon up in case I get something new that I want. Other than that, though, I spin those things. So, I took Motor Drive up because during the wind event, I was using this. I think it's a good weapon. That's why I took it to 90. Fairy Tail, I regret taking to 90. I don't think a lot of support weapons need to go to 90. I just don't see, like, if you raise your heal or your earth resist a little bit more, does that really help? My answer is I don't think so. I wish I would not have taken this to 90, but there's weapons that I wish that even more so on. Mirasame, great. This, great. Amaranth's Claws, great. Crystal Gloves is fine. I don't think it was necessary. Edged Wings, obviously. I wish I wouldn't have taken Chocobo Staff to 90. Again, it's a support weapon, and I think it functions just fine without having it to 90. I don't really need to eke out a little bit more defense. I don't need to eke out a little bit more heal. The things that I'm always wanting to eke out a little bit more of is damage. Torn Wing here. So there was a while when I was really excited to be able to OB10 anything, and because of those, I took some free weapons to 90, this and the Ifrit Sword and Chocobo Staff, but that was later. But I did that because I was just excited. Like this, I plus 20'd this. I was excited, so I took it to 90. Was it worth it? Absolutely not. But at some point, you got to experiment to learn. And also, I don't know, if you take a weapon all the way up to 20, especially for me, this was very early on. This was one of the first free weapons that we got. This was during the Ifrit co-op event. So, I took it to 90 because I was just excited. I'm like, hey, this is my strongest weapon. It wasn't, but that's what I thought at the time, or at least my brain was telling me that. So that's why I did that. I would suggest for people wondering what to spend your mithril ore on, I would take weapons that you're going to use a lot, and specifically ones that have great R abilities, and ones that like this, like it's super strong. Either one of these raising up is strong. And obviously there's an order of operations, but even just eking out a little bit more ice potency, it's a big deal. Those are the weapons that I would really focus on, ones that you're, going to be on a main damage dealer, preferably. That's how I feel about that. For the sake of being thorough, I will also go through my Chocobo farm. And this is not impressive either. I have 41,000 of the coins saved up, just waiting on better versions of the Chocobos to show up. I have 3 Cs and 1 D, and ideally, I would have these water Chocobos all to C. I do not, but I can tell you that I roll for this. I was rolling like every day, all the amount of times it would let me, and it was just really hard for me to find solid Chocobos. So I just stuck with this, and I could do better. I'm not saying that you should use this as a guide. I'm doing this more so for the people who are interested, and if you want to use it as a frame of reference. One thing I want to go back and touch on, because somebody specifically asked this question, is somebody had asked me, obviously you seem to use Cloud, Sephiroth, Tifa, and Aerith as your main 4. Who would be your number 5? I've been thinking about that ever since that question came up, and that is a very difficult question for me to answer, because for the most part, I only find that about 4 are necessary. Now, I'm not saying that others aren't good. I'm just saying that for me, based on who I've gone for item-wise and who I've built up, 4 seems to do it. I have Cloud to do water and lightning. I have Sephiroth to do ice, and he's capable of doing more than that. I have Tifa now to do wind and also ice if necessary. I have her for my primary debuffer. I have Aerith to do buffs and also heal. And I feel like between the 4 of them, I think that they can do most of the stuff that's needed. Obviously, Zac with, his Whiskers weapon can be your water person if you don't have Cloud set up for it. Lucia could be your Earth person if you don't have, obviously there's nobody that's going to be naturally set up for that at this point. But, as far as Red 13, I feel like he attempts to do most of the same things that Tifa can do, only, in my opinion, humble opinion, not as well. Glenn, he just hasn't seen much love. Matt, I just don't play him a lot, but he's got some pretty good things going for him. Barrett, if he got some love, Barrett would be my 5th. I can tell you that. Barrett would be the next person that I would want to build and use. Probably close, Lucia close behind. Like, I think both of them are good. Barrett hasn't been on a banner since the very beginning of the game, and that's a problem. That is a huge problem. So I would say Barrett. I'm going to call it Barrett, but realistically, I'm just focusing on those 4. Well, that's about everything I can think of at the moment. If there was something you think I didn't cover, feel free to leave me a comment, and I will try to get to it in a future video. If you thought this was interesting in any way, subscribe for future content. I'm always putting out new stuff, and I appreciate each and every one of your support. As always, thanks for watching.